Please note that this video contains spoilers for the subject and the series and/or franchise leading up to this entry. Put off by how long this video is? Don't worry, I try to jam-pack my videos with as much content and as much detail as I possibly can. Anything I feel I can comment on and that I feel you might be interested in, I pretty much put in the video. I try not to repeat myself and talk fairly fast. I either have or will cover other parts of this franchise, and this video either is or will be linked below. I'm not going to restate here what I did or will say in the other video. These videos get long enough as it is. I've reviewed other parts of this franchise. The links are in the description box. Welcome back. Excuse me. I'll try to make this quick. Last minute preparations. Almost there. And ready. So, Married with Children. Married with Children, Season 11 thoughts. Starting with the intro. Well, logo decided to work anyway. Thought I was going to have to replace that light bulb. Yes, intro. Now, once again from Wikipedia, Fox moved the show's time slot several times throughout the course of the season, which cost the show ratings. Rising production cost and decreasing viewer shares led to the show's cancellation on April 17th, 1997, after the final taping for Season 11. Due to this decision, there is no official final episode of Married with Children. While How to Marry a Moron is considered to be the final episode, Chicago Shoe Exchange was the last episode that Fox broadcast. And yeah, I think I'm not sure I have anything to add about Fox canceling great shows because they themselves mismanaged them rather than the show making mistakes. So, yeah. And this was the only season to feature teaser scenes before the opening credits. And a few episodes during the season also featured tag scenes just before the closing credits. And honestly, I don't know why it took them so long. I hadn't really thought about it until it started in this season, but yeah, really, what other sitcom doesn't have a teaser scene before the opening credits, especially one with such relatively lengthy opening credits? I mean, 2.5 Men has much shorter. It's sometimes it has long credits, but sometimes it's just maybe half a minute or something. I think this is 1 to 2 minutes or something. So, and this was also the one where they shortened it. For this season, the still of Alan and Peggy sitting on the couch was dropped from. Oh wait, that's the closing credits. Yeah, which for this season are shown against a black background and a separate card format instead of scrolling. The opening theme was also greatly shortened, dropping the highway scenes taken from National Lampoon's Vacation, as well as the scene where Al hands every member of his family money. And, you know, I kind of missed that, but I do understand it. I mean, the fact that the show got good enough ratings, despite not having teaser scenes, and having such lengthy opening credits is really impressive. You know, there are a lot of shows that probably wouldn't have been able to, yeah. And here we go. Twisted. You know, just final little last thing to do here. I think it really needs to be just a little bit closer there. I think that's better. Yeah, there we go. This is ranked 118th. Just briefly, I can't believe this is actually the last season. You know, I've watched all these episodes before, but I'm really gonna miss the show. I expect the next one to be a low, since, you know, I never did season thoughts for that one, and I haven't completely decided yet if I have enough more to say to do another review video, but I certainly never did thoughts on it. And I also, until recently, did not have every episode of that show, so, but yeah. This episode is ranked 118th, and personally I'd have to say it's top 100. Now, let's see. I said O as in not pay. No, don't. She can see the fans and doesn't realize they are the reason. They did save Griff. I'm glad he's back. Kelly actually thinks that that's still Bud. I love Storm-Ready Marcy. Careful, Griff. There's no such thing as free lunch. And she dances on his severed thumb. Again, sexist and misogynist, but this fat shoe-wanting woman is different. One person blew upside down, and a twister inside the shoe store. And Al lands on Peg, and the fat woman lands on them both. Why couldn't I land on a toxic waste dump? Well, it is. I better take this one too in case this one breaks. Great stunt, Marcy. Let's see. And the women get horny. And the post-coital faces. And positions. And Bud becomes a battering ram. And he falls down the stairs. It's a secret. Shut up. And people keep slapping each other. And Kel still hasn't caught Lucky. Cluck you? I like you. Go to hell. That's not a question. Why don't you go to hell? I really like you. I'm sorry, I really love Ariel. Just she's so happy and enthusiastic, and just, yeah. And just her, you know, the show has this thing where some of the stupid female characters, especially like the 20-something women, 20-something aged women, sometimes will be like really excited to try to answer a question correctly. Again, like, you know, they're still in kindergarten and they'll be like rewarded for answering the question, and as if it's a difficult question to answer some of the time also. And Kel actually went through the Wizard of Oz. We've reached peak wackiness. Excuse me. Children of the Corns. This is ranked 186th. I place it in the top of 150. And even that was below minimum. A shotgun can go off more than once a month. It's see-through. Maybe that's why I can't find it. And it was Griff's turn to draw the shades, not to let them in. Excuse me. Oh, and if you can hear, it's really crazy windy out. So, yeah, it's, you know, not dangerous windy, but really windy. So if you hear, like, yeah, that's probably what you're hearing. Now, they actually think food's going to come out of the microwave just by pressing a button that they don't have to put food in. Well, that was his disease. That was Timmy's head, and his eyes popped. That is dark. Maybe this is where that gag came from for idle hands. Al just can't help insulting customers. And Al high-fives Hook for a hand. And he nods instead of speaking. And they electrocute Bud. They make more than me, and they get gruel. Look at the clock. I think it's taking us back in time. You don't have to cheer me up. I've had a great day. You're a shoe salesman. I love all of Peg's sex jokes. And Kel is just hanging up in the closet. And they pretend it's an elevator. There's no such thing as $100 bill. And Miranda Veracruz de la Joya Cardinal. And Bud is sending SOS via shoebox. Excuse me. Kelly's got to have it. Cute pun. It's ranked 156th. I have to place it in the top 100. And Peg was literally tied up and they were robbed behind Al's back. I really like the nun. It's another one of those cases where if I quoted all of her funny lines, I'd be quoting almost everything she said. And I'd have to say this has a better wacky nun character than Good Morning Miami. I also don't know why I watched every episode of the 2 seasons that show got. So did you give me the job? Is the Pope Catholic? How should I know? Hello? I'm not really a nun. Look at Kel bouncing around about peaches. You have to be chaste. Do I get a head start? The bowling shirt you never washed? You sure didn't just walk off on its own? You lose 3 partners in a week and it's like no one wants to ride with you. I am a bride of Christ. Wow, must have been a fancy wedding. Peggy literally believes that Kelly has never had her period before, even though she's 25. You found out about Santa Claus? What about Santa? It's about not having sex. Oh my God, you got married. Kelly literally thinks that the cops are going to bust her for thinking about men. That's what he said on our honeymoon. I love Al rhyming cop with other words. And Al accidentally shoots, my guess is an owl. Sometimes we have to make an example. I haven't thought about men once. And she's made one after the other of these phallic statues out of clay. And now Kelly is attracted to Bud. Brought out the wanker in her. You shouldn't have ordered pay-per-view. And they make thousands of those sculptures at the convent. Huh, I wonder why. I love Al in the Darcy's home. And he tases Marcy twice. Now, That brings us to Requiem for a Chevyweight, Part 1. Another cute pun. This is ranked 153rd. I'd place it top 50. Top 150. Not quite top 50. Oh, come on, bud. You know News Geek comes tomorrow. Then what's behind you? Couch? An emergency. What is it? An unforeseen circumstance that requires quick attention. But that's not important right now. Full-on ER parody. She's holding her own, just like you, bud. We had a college fund? I just graduated. Well, then you won't be needing any, will you? Al, you need to get some rest. Or some help of some kind. Al thought the shoe store would only be a summer job. That's not all he needs. And Kel is just making animal noises now. And they're not with him, and they're eager to tell him that. Kelly is literally combing the classified. And they're selling parts behind Al's back. And Peg does not believe for a second that Bud will have a family of his own. They were so different in the flashbacks, so much better. Look, shiny, shiny shoes. And Kelly pulls one of Bud's hairs. Excuse me. And Requiem for a Chevyweight, Part 2. This is ranked 163rd. I would again place it in the top 150. Let's see. I'm not sure if I wrote that right, but over here it's 15 o'clock. Yeah, I don't know. Tons of guys really do love their car more than their family. Excuse me. I love Marcy abusing Al in this episode and just in general. Al got suckered at the car dealership. I love hearing about how awful the Dodge is. They couldn't pick where to turn. It didn't have a radio. It didn't have brakes. And the car is secretly awful. Sleep shoveling. Kelly threatens her mother with telling her mother. Why do the seat warmers have a flame broil option? And Al can't break the balloon. And Jefferson accidentally gets someone shot by snapping his fingers. On a completely unrelated note, I loved the second official trailer for Infinity War. Yeah, you can probably tell why I brought that up. Which part of Never Repay don't you understand? And a Bundy Thanksgiving. This is ranked 185th, and I would definitely place it in the top 100. It's another great holiday special. Excuse me, another classic, in fact. I'm sure Mr. and Mrs. Sasquatch did their best. No, that is Rush Limbaugh. I love them trying to talk Kelly into cooking Hank the turkey without her realizing. You're trying to get Hank to like you more than me. Couldn't you snap her neck? Couldn't you snap her neck? I mean, after all, she is my sister. You just want to see Hank naked. Mom, that's a linen closet. That is one well-behaved turkey, especially considering they're supposedly trying to kill him. I mean, fly up, Hank! James Brown, a black church, and at least one white man in there who's in there for the service. Blues Brothers. And Al steals the pie and has to do football plays to get it out of there. Even Lucky knew the turkeys could fly. I wanted to kill him, says the 10-year-old about his pet turkey. You weren't in the car? I assumed you were in the back seat, hidden like a John Carpenter character. And Aunt Maddie talks to Al, talks and smacks him into sharing the pie. The Juggs have left the building, and this is ranked 124th. I would rank it somewhere in the top 120. You're going to bury me when I'm dead? Dead, napping, not looking. I'd be happy to feed him. To what? I wonder how long Jefferson had been practicing an impersonation of Al and Marcy of Peggy. Because they do a great job. Brain damage doesn't set in for 4 minutes. Ask your sister. Spit out the fish. Either all of us eat or none of us eat. Nice to let the Bundy women sing well for once. Which, again, they clearly are capable of. And suddenly the Darcys are criticizing each other via the roleplay. Kelly really thinks they're pregnant. We're in Branson. These things happen. And Kelly doesn't realize she's the stupid cheap blonde. I'm delighted and disgusted at the same time. Oh god, we don't have anything. Tammy Wynette does a really good performance. Kelly can't tell the difference between her actual parents and the Darcys dressed up. Again, I'm sorry, I realize that it's sexist, but I really do love when they make her that unbelievably stupid. It's so funny. And God Help Ye Merry Bundymen. And it's ranked 159th, and I would place it in the top 150. Let's see. You don't want to know. You ate my sleeve. Of course, unless you would rather spend the money on winning than helping. Once those 5 minutes are up. And Kelly literally separates the eggs. Obviously, it was the Bundy kids who kidnapped the statues. And Al and Griff trained their replacements like happens in a lot of real-life jobs. They did more work in 3 days than you did in 25 years. Well, I pace myself. And the sign says, we'll stop singing for 25 cents, not will sing. Outside the ooze. Peggy baked the whole neighborhood. Excuse me, I'm gonna have to. And there we go. And homophobia with the reindeer. Not a fan. Kelly does a really good gangster impersonation. To hell with Christmas, I want to win. We did it. It was us. It was her. Santa's village idiot. And they quit. Good nightmare footage. I really appreciate that they drew attention to his hilarious shoes. Mistletoed. I bought the spirit of Christmas. Peggy wins for the gingerbread house village, and Marcy held on to it as though it was keeping her alive. I gotta say, I really expected someone to eat the gingerbread houses, especially before it mattered. Crimes Against Obesity. This is ranked 130th. It's definitely somewhere in the top 130 for me. I know what today is. It's the bright sunny day before tonight. Part before tonight. I love the sex jokes when both Al and Peggy are on the couch. What idiot would steal the windows only to put them in the doors? Wow. Kelly looks exactly like Trump when turning the wheel excitedly. And we have a clip show. They did get a bunch of the women to come back. And they take away one of his free meals for every insult. Last Thanksgiving, she ate my Aunt Edna. I love Kelly's use of the hammer and the whole thing with Bud with the stuff stuck to his face. Looks like a gimp mask or something. For most of the episode, it really seems as though Al basically has Tourette's. He's only very briefly able to suppress his desire to insult fat women, to, briefly able to suppress it to tell the lie near the end. Excuse me. Yeah, I should briefly say, I realized that these notes are shorter than previous ones for earlier seasons. It's not that I didn't still really love these episodes. It's just the voice typing is not completely reliant. And so, yeah, I don't note everything that I would otherwise. And the Stepford Peg. There we go. Bud has to look at the last chocolate stain. Mom has Indonesia. Now Peggy really does think that Bud is called Quasimodo. Kelly thought a mirror was a window. And Kelly can't see who's at the door. Maybe she needs glasses. Just hit her a new place every day. That is incredibly misogynistic. And Marcy is easily bought. Peggy still really thinks that Marcy is the paper boy. A battery-operated cocktail stirrer that she found in her nightstand. Checks out. All this time, Kelly was right. There really was a girl who looks exactly like Kelly next door. And yet, they apparently both of them were staring at each other, and it looked as though it was basically a mirror. So, yeah. Again, really wacky. Such an obvious episode idea, but sometimes you gotta do the obvious ones. I'm really glad that they got to do it before they were cancelled. And yes, we are neck deep in wackiness. Excuse me. Bud on the Side, ranked 136th, top 150 for sure. Did I mention the... Excuse me. I feel like I might have forgotten to mention the Stepford Peg. It's ranked 48th, and I would definitely place it in the top 50. Let's see, yeah. Interesting place to look. What are you doing? You really don't know, do you, Bud? Kelly, was I a bad mother? I don't know, whose mother were you? Yours. Oh, then you were terrible. And he can name all 20 states. Oh, now you bought Bud a horse. I want a unicorn. I feel like I'm just a piece of meat. My area, let me handle this. And love and marriage go together like a... And without Bud, Gary takes away all the stuff Al got. Fried lobster. What's he need lobster for? He's got dignity. Grime and Punishment. This is ranked 143rd. I would place it in the top 75. Definitely one of my favorites. What would I do with 6 bridges? He didn't even spring for the color copies. And Kel actually acts out Al watching baseball. And he has to try to see if she's going to mow the lawn. And she's running a fictitious machine. Nobody likes a whiny baby, Bud. Al is still keeping track of Bud's expenses. A shark collar. And Bud immediately tases him. Just such a sitcom solution to a real-life problem. Duh, the giant hamster store. He's still using Kinko's money. You'd be surprised by how many people want to torture Dad. He chewed through the wrench. And Kel improving through history. Al was horrible to his father. I really expected the ending joke to be Al intentionally electrifying Bud. But it was still good. Trash. Or, yeah, I think you just, even though it's spelled with the asterisks, I have to admit I haven't really watched MASH. But I think people say it instead of spell it out. This is ranked 249th. Yeah, somewhere down there. How can trash go on strike? No one's called me sir in a long time. She hasn't even finished Go Dog Go. You mean since the garbage strike or since you moved in? I had so many variables I needed one constant. And they're launching garbage. And she immediately grabs his hand. Now. Excuse me, just a minute. Breaking up is easy to do. This is ranked 134th. It's around there to me. I brought shrimp balls. I can see that. But what's in the bowl? Gee, I must be doing something wrong. I have been climbing the stairs for over an hour. I'm not getting any higher. I'm okay. Kelly and the other actress have really good put-downs of each other. She can't count to 2. She holds up 3 fingers. I'll give you a knuckle salad sandwich. No thanks, I'm training. Even Griff does better with his first date than Al and Peg with each other. I know this one because it's a month that has a vowel in it. That's what you say in the bedroom at night. It doesn't work there. And Peg throws away the card. Looks like Al's remembering the wrong rumpus. Anyone want to play Twister? And we shared a Mr. Softy, and we've been sharing one ever since. Honey, don't box. You'll get brain damage. Oh, right. Oh, that's horrible. Where did Lucky sleep? And turns out he really did sleep in the actual doghouse. No, Kelly, it's what's in the box? I love Marcy's advice to Peg and Jefferson's to Al. I love Peg getting Al to go to therapy. And Kelly says, let's rock. Drive-through counselor, only in America. Those trick questions won't work on me, Doc. You can poke around inside my head all you want. You won't find anything. I believe you. Al has the attention span of a YouTube watcher. Yes, I appreciate the irony. And Peg does the spoken word, I will survive. And this is another really obvious episode setup. Al threatens this all the time, and it's good that they let that play out, and again, that they got to it before the show was cancelled. Now, something I noted after having watched all 3 parts, overall, it's alright. You know, it would probably have been better written if they'd made it earlier in the run. But then also, you know, it's one of those things where it's so obvious that it's almost a jump the shark kind of moment. Like, you know, a stunt. Not a literal stunt, but, you know, like, ooh, check out this episode. We have this, yeah. And Al is like, goodbye to your home. Breaking up is easy to do, part 2. It's ranked 213th. I'd place it around there as well. And of course they were talking about the TVs, not the kids. I just need someone to help me push the car. I don't think your hair looks that stringy. We'll never leave you. And then she cries even harder. What the hell is she crying about? And Marcy sings. Think positive, Peggy. I gave you that. You got the moves, or the runs. That's because they're deaf. And a number where he can reach you, Mr. Pumpkin? Oh, hey, Daddy, a Mr. Pumpkin call for you? Breaking up is easy to do, part 3. This is ranked 226th, and again, I would also place it around there. Try to avoid getting paper cuts. We are? Cool. I hope we meet Sting. And that got them to leave. I can't believe Marcy didn't slam the door in Al's face. Why is Lucky suddenly silent? What is she talking about? They look exactly the same. Yeah, but most people don't. I know that, and don't you try to stop him. Good montage, and it cuts to Al, showing that he was thinking about that too. Or thinking those, yeah. And there's actually, one of the clips is from an episode that comes a little later in this season. So I guess they moved around yeah. At first I was like, oh no, I missed an actual episode, but then, yeah. Sorry the place is a little bit of a mess, but I live here. Fitting somewhere around there. Marcy sends her hate. The first time we ever had a fight. And the car comes apart Blues Brothers style. And Bruce was in the Enemies episode too, playing, I think, Henry. I think that's what he's called. But yeah, the one that, you know, I forget the actress's name, but that she was trying to cheat on the other guy with. There we go. It's better. And to live Nude Peg. This is ranked 64th. It's top 50 for me. It's like £1 a day. Or £1 a day, I forget exactly what she said. If the camera adds £10, why can't they just use 3 cameras? That's good because Al never does. Kelly, don't run, you're burning calories. Hey, if Peg stops stripping, Al should stop shooting people. Maybe that's aiming high. A Babe in Toyland. And it's ranked 227th. Yeah, I also place it around there. You'd be a Ken doll. Of course not. You have an expiration date. Hear that? We're going to get meat. I went away for a week. Man, Al really did miss the good old days. Seriously, when was the last time a couple slept in separate beds in a sitcom? I love Uncle Dudley freaking out the kids. And it's reminded me a lot of when Krusty tried to do Gabbo's shtick and messed up with the puppet, I guess. Not doll, I think. Yeah, she was. I mean, she was. And she bounces off the bed. Those diet pills saved us a ton in school lunches. They can't tell that dummy is holding a puppet of Bud. You're going to ruin the show. You saved the show. I've always treated you like dirt. You can't prove that's my ex. You don't have a spine. You represent cheese. She knocks Al out of the bed and he goes through the floor. And she's got rock music opening the show and Bobby Beaver's a male model. And yeah, I really do. I enjoy how when Kelly gets to set the rules for a show, she does turn it into that kind of just, yeah, you know, something that she herself would watch. And yeah. And Dudley crashes the show. And this has one of the few weak ending jokes. And is that? Yeah, I guess so. Birthday boy toy. This whiteboard marker is real not. There we go. Yeah. That's better. This is ranked 187th. Yeah. Top 150 for me. I love the evidence against Peg. Something shiny. Don't waste your best pickup lines on Dad. Honey, nothing is that funny. He electrified her phone. And I appreciate that. Well, usually I just thank God I'm not the aging gigolo living next door. Al is such a horrible actor. So, nice weather we're having, huh, Daddy? Al put the emphasis completely on the wrong words. Can his ass. Somehow, cartoonishly, everyone in the mall knows that Al sucks. They even have the what's it called, PA system or something, you know. Attention shoppers, Al Bundy sucks. Just, yeah, love this kind of completely out there stuff. Al is so petty, he just can't let Griff get the ad. It's a lot like the one with the, you know, running with the, what's it called, Olympic torch. And Jefferson goes under a butt tongue. Very Taylor Swift. The old Taylor. Damn Bundys. This is ranked 24th. Yeah, it's one of the very best. So, yeah, I love Robert Englund's Devil. For a Canadian penny, I love her face after she says that, the eye twitching. He's either dead or having sex. And hell has a counter for how many burned instead of how many served. Al just had to lie to the devil. All Al would have to do is lie to the devil, and his hell would be his heaven instead. But nope, he has to admit that he loves the weenie tots. He loves spending eternity on the bathroom. And yeah, we were taking your body to the cemetery. I love why the Darcys were there. Great use of very cheesy effects. They run out of Woe Bundy energy quickly. Al should be careful. You don't want to have to replace another of the kids. And another wacky concept. I mean, they do at the very end prove that, you know, it. Well, no, wait, yeah, it seems as though it was a dream, but then it turns out that, you know, he still has the, not red hots, but real hots. So, yeah, that's as wacky as the show ever got. And, yeah, you would think that it almost was like that the show simply got too wacky for people, and that was why it was canceled, rather than, you know, studio meddling. But yeah, I could understand people who think that's too far to go for a show that did start out mostly realistic, you know. Lez Be Friends. And this is ranked 50th, and I would definitely place it in the top 50. And Kelly is like, did I just cut your finger off? Told you we should have used the feed pole. The day we dropped him on his head and he didn't scream. Amanda Bears does a good job of subtly making Mandy different from Marcy. Wait, identical cousin, we can't hug just yet. My double isn't here yet. I love Hyper Lucky. Al takes having befriended someone gay much better than Homer did. Yesterday he was chasing cars and passing them. Lucky has a type? I don't think Buck did, other than breathing. Maybe then I can get some sleep. I love how uncomfortable Al is when Marcy cries and hugs him, and they both scream and run away. And The Desperate Half Hour, Part 1 of 2. And this is ranked 44th. It's definitely top 40 for me. And Lonnie walks into the door. I love the gun changing hands. Just Marcy legitimately walks right up and grabs it out of her hand. And even as she sees Starla like leaping, you know, like trying, like clearly scared, she just hands it right back. Wow. I love Lonnie and Kelly together. Poor Clicky. I know what I said, isn't it? I love them avoiding the volunteering. I love Marcy trying to talk Starla out of her Mercedes. This 3D is incredible. Especially the capital ones. Al's line, "So did mine," really should have been "Welcome to the club," since it's true of everyone, not only him. Can I take a message? I thought you'd never ask. How to Marry a Moron. And this is ranked 167th. And I forgot to write if I agreed or disagreed. I'd say top 150. Top, not top. Is that all? And he strangles him back. And they don't stop him. Lonnie must be real appreciative of Al, because he strangles him for a while. Genuine cubic zirconia? And he owns Weenie Tots. Isn't that Big Bird? We better go color our invitations. Don't be silly. It's not a bowl. It's a hat. And I'm just sitting there. Please put it on, please put it on, please put it on. And she does. Bad luck, huh? That's because he has no money and a bad car. Exactly. How big? And Laserdisc. That doesn't date it at all. I told you to close your hamper. Offensive as the rape jokes with Bud's date is, I can't lie, the chase, the ripped shirt on Bud, they do make me laugh. And I'm going to hell. This wedding is off. Good, then I can still make the Adelstein funeral. Wow. I love the response to, we Bundys may have our faults. And finally we have Chicago Shoe Exchange. This is ranked 71st, and I would definitely put it in the top 75. That is one big maybe pile. Well, they made them. Why would they want them back? Excuse me. Now it's time to do Al's laundry, and Lucky runs off. Kelly, Pumpkin, stop breaking your brother's bones. And she just runs off. Very good physical comedy, but of him like falling on the floor. It's kind of hard to barter when with a T-Rex chasing your ass. One, as long as there's $3,000 stuffed in it. And transphobia with the stiletto heels guy. Kelly, sweetie, stop sticking sharp objects into your brother's legs. That means it hasn't spread. Or was that counterclockwise? And for like a second, you know, you catch yourself thinking that the joke is just, oh, he twisted Bud's neck in the wrong direction and then realizes, but nope, he goes on to twist Bud's neck in the other direction as well. What do you mean? You know, for a 90s production, this has very few chimps. It's this episode and then the one where the whole family got turned into chimps. Well, what are you doing here? What about this? Is that Deputy so-and-so? I mean, I looked it up since after writing that note. Apparently not. Maybe that's where, like, James Ransome, I want to say, got the, you know, some of the performance for when he acted in the first Sinister movie. Bud does not want to go in the trunk. He's clearly watched Tarantino. And they didn't tie him to the roof. I thought you said put a tie. Because she's so helpful. It's like, oh, put a tie on him. Sure, will do. Just she doesn't stop to think. Does that make any sense at all? Gary's shoes and accessories. Well, Gary's. Best 3 out of 2. And it burned him. And he breaks Bud's spine just to make sure the story checks out. Kelly, honey, stop extinguishing your brother. And the chimp looks and behaves like Al. Which I think they also got that other chimp too. Now, given that this is the last season, there's a special segment that I like to call Episode Rewatch List. This is, I'm going to be doing I used to do review of a show the same day as I did the season thoughts on the last season. But then with, I think, Alias and Dexter, that got to be a long recording session. So I'm, since then, I've been doing, basically the idea is 3 weeks after, which is also about how long I take between thoughts videos. So yeah, I'm going to be watching 3 weeks worth of episodes, just like for the thoughts videos, but obviously rewatching since there aren't any more new ones. And so, basically, technically it's 22 because I will be watching one today as well as the actual 3 weeks. But anyway, that came to 2 episodes from every single season. And here is the list that and I have to admit that some of this was really difficult, so just because an episode didn't make the list doesn't mean that I didn't really badly want to rewatch it. Just, yeah, I watch 1 episode per day for sure. Season 1, Episode 1, The Pilot. Season 1, Episode 11, Nightmare on Owl's Street. Season 2, Episode 4, Buck Can Do It. Season 2, Episode 13, You Better Watch Out, obviously. Season 3, Episode 8, The Romani Cried. Season 3, Episode 20, The Computer Show. Season 4, Episode 11, It's a Bundyful Life. And Season 4, Episode 12, It's a Bundyful Life Part 2, obviously. Season 5, Episode 1, Will Follow the Sun. Season 5, Episode 17, Oldies But Young'uns. Season 6, Episode 11, Al Bundy Shudik. Season 6, Episode 17, The Egg and I. Season 7, Episode 12, Christmas. Season 7, Episode 18, Peggy and the Pirates. Season 8, Episode 13, The Worst Noel. Season 8, Episode 16, How Green Was My Apple. Season 9, Episode 1, Shoe to Heaven. Season 9, Episode 20, Something Larry This Way Comes, obviously. Season 10, Episode 20, Turning Japanese. Season 10, Episode 21, Al Goes to the Dogs. And finally, Season 11, Episode 6, Bundy Thanksgiving. And Season 11, Episode 8, God Help Ye Merry Bundymen. Yeah, I cannot say no to a Married with Children holiday special, especially the Christmas specials. So that is it for the thoughts videos, and yeah, 3 weeks from now the actual review. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed this one and the others as much as I have.